Well, a lot has been going on in the world of the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, as you guys well know. It has been the number one biggest topic and issue in the world of the movie industry for, oh God, getting close to a year? I don't know. It's been a while that it's been going on. Now, recently, some major events took place. So I'm going to walk through the timeline here with you as to some of the significant incidents. So you guys know that a major lawsuit, there are like several major lawsuits going on, but probably the most important one, where 12 states, being led by California and New York, sued to stop the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. And as a part of that lawsuit, they filed for a preliminary injunction, a temporary restraining order known as a TRO, to force Paramount to not complete the merger with Warner Brothers until the trial is done. Now, the judge then granted that temporary restraining order on a short-term basis. The judge basically said, we're granting the restraining order for 2 weeks. Then in 2 weeks, the judge said, that gives you a couple of weeks to then come back and respond to the order. We'll have a hearing on it, and then I'll make a final ruling about whether or not to make the injunction or restraining order permanent until the end of the trial. Well, what happened was kind of interesting. Paramount decided they had no chance to win that hearing. So they just simply agreed to the TRO. They just simply agreed to the restraining order and said, yep, we'll just see this thing through. And the reason I think that happened is because when the judge granted the temporary 2-week restraining order, you remember we talked about this. I read the judge's entire decision. And what the judge pointed out was the reason I'm granting it is because it looks like the state is going to be able to prove that this deal violates Chapter 7 or Section 7 of the Clayton Act. It looks like there is a good chance the states will succeed. Therefore, we're granting the temporary restraining order. Upon seeing that, it became kind of apparent, I believe, to Paramount that they had no chance of winning that hearing in 2 weeks. If the judge had already determined after looking at the facts that this thing is probably going to be found violating Section 7 of the Clayton Act, it's going to be found violating the law, well, there's no point in trying to fight it. So they turned it off. And now they're going to have to wait basically a year until the trial is really done and finished. And here's the thing, by accepting that, you guys know, we've talked about this on the show, guys, that as soon as they don't close the deal by the end of September, Paramount's got a ticking clock that they're going to have to pay between $6 and $7 million a day in penalties to Warner Brothers shareholders. They gave the Warner Brothers shareholders, we guarantee we'll have this thing locked up by the beginning of October, end of September. As a matter of fact, we're guaranteeing it so hard that if we don't close by then, we'll pay you $650 million per quarter. That roughly works out to about $6 to $7 million a day that we don't close it. And now this thing's going to be like a year late. We're talking anywhere from $1.1 to $1.5 billion in penalties they're going to have to pay.
Man,
to
that's like 3 or 4 Qatari jets.
I mean, that's a big thing for those states that are donating to the cause.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, because of that, and because Paramount was so clear for so long that they fully intended to close this deal quickly, they're coming out right now and saying, oh, no, we're just really confident we're going to win the trial down the line. No, they're not. No, they're not. They can say that all they want. If they believed that, they would have fought in the hearing in 2 weeks. If they believed that, they wouldn't have put guarantees in place for Warner Brothers that we're going to pay you $6 to $7 million in penalties per day if we're late. I have been on this show and I've said, guys, for months that yes, there are hurdles. Yes, there are complications. And yes, I think they're going to have to make some compromises. But at the end of the day, I think this Paramount deal goes through. I think I was wrong. I now stand here today. I don't think this Paramount deal is going to go through. And I think Paramount knows it. And I think what Paramount is doing right now, and again, this is just my opinion. This is just what I'm surmising. Okay. But what I think Paramount is doing right now is just buying themselves time. I think they're buying themselves time, and that somewhere 3 months, 6 months down the road from now, they're going to come out and say, you know what? We're going to pivot and buy Lionsgate. We just think we have discovered that the Lionsgate deal is a better fit for us. Or they'll come out and say, you know what? After having more time to consider it, man, buying NBC Universal from Comcast is a much better arrangement for us. What were we thinking? We're happy to walk away from the Warner Brothers deal, at which point they'll have to write a $7 billion check, breakup check to give to Warner Brothers. And they're going to have to move on. I think at this point, it's just a saving face situation. And again, I could be totally wrong. There's no official word saying any of this. This is just me looking at the data we have in front of us. But I think regardless of anything Paramount is saying right now to save face, they don't agree to this basically 1 year delay unless they know they're beat. And I don't think they wanted to go through the year and pay another $300, $400, $500 million in legal fees and all that kind of stuff. So again, I could be right and I could be wrong. Now, of note, we've also got this where now there are some Warner Brothers executives saying, yeah, they actually hope this whole thing falls apart. That there are a bunch of executives at Warner Brothers saying, yeah, we would love this thing to fall apart. And you know what? It doesn't say so in the article, but I will bet dollars to dimes that one of those executives is David Zaslav. I'd bet money one of those executives is David Zaslav.
I mean, he released that memo to his employees, which was very strange at the cusp of this deal, where he said, and anyway, it probably won't work and we'll get $7 billion. That's a strange thing for a CEO who just inked a deal to say to his employees.
Now, just for context, just you know what Jonathan's talking about. One of the employees brought up the question, what happens if the deal doesn't go through? And to that, Zaslav responded, then we go on business as usual and collect a $7 billion check.
Yeah.
And
then
they
I
just
meet with Sarandos.
And remember, we talked a while ago about that report that came out that said Zaslav didn't even really want this deal, but it's just that he could have been sued for not acting in the shareholders' best interest if he didn't pursue it and go through with it. And so there was a lot of words that really Zaslav didn't really want this thing, even though he's personally going to make a lot of money from it. So anyway, I stand here before you guys having changed my mind. I've been saying forever that this deal with compromises will ultimately go through. I don't think that's true anymore. I got a feeling this thing is going to be dead in the water. Anyway, Rob, you've seen all the latest developments. Now we're finding out that there are even Warner Brothers executives saying, yeah, please let this thing just die. We don't want to go through with this. But anyway, what's your takeaway from this? Do you think Paramount actually means it when they say, no, we're looking forward to seeing this thing through and we're going to complete this merger? Do you think, like I do, that they've quietly resigned from it? Do you see this happening? Not at this point? What do you think?
Well, I guess, John, through all of this and all the discussions that we've had, I've still been waiting for a good reason why Paramount even wants to do this in the first place. Like,
we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah. And I, with this going on, with all of these headwinds blowing into this deal, I would think that at some point you just go, okay, we gave it the old college try. But in terms of putting themselves in their debt position, how does this at all strengthen a company? I mean, I don't see, they're an entertainment company. They're supposed to make television and movies, and I guess they wanted to control the narrative through news organizations or whatever they're trying to do. But even that, their control of CBS hasn't exactly gone well. And it's like, at the end of the day, what is it you're trying to accomplish? I mean, as a shareholder, I'm not, but if I was, I would be asking, okay, where's my investment going? What am I trying to get out of this? I'm investing in your company, and all you seem to be doing is going into debt and forgetting what your core business is. And now you're fighting against an entire industry. There were more actors that took up arms against this deal over the weekend. And
including
it's like,
Doctor Strange. Benedict
including
Cumberbatch
Doctor
himself came
Strange.
out and did that. Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, look, I am not, if I was a financial guy, I would be much richer than I am and not on YouTube and making movies rather than talking about them. But unfortunately, I am not. I've been an indie ground, I've been an indie guy my whole life. And I look at this and I understand it's way above my pay grade to be opining on these kinds of financial deals. But I just don't see, I don't see what anybody's getting out of it. I don't see how you're going to get out of the enormous debt look at your upcoming slate. I mean, Paramount's got a few more interesting things up their sleeves that I've been seeing a few trailers for things. I'm like, okay, now we've got Paramount Primal. And we'll see what's going to happen.
To your point about the debt, I just want to remind everybody, okay, about this number. Just got to remind you about this number. If Paramount, everything goes perfectly for Paramount, and they close this deal, they will be the proud owners of a $110 billion debt. Okay? Now, here's the other number. Because Paramount has been downgraded to a junk bond status, they do not enjoy the friends and family interest rates.
No.
The lower your credit rating goes, the more interest. So let's be generous. Let's be generous. Let's say they've got to pay a 5% rate on that $110 billion debt. That equals, grab your balls, everybody, $15 million per day.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again. $15 million per day in interest that accumulates every day. It's about $5.5 billion per year in interest. $15 million a day in interest. And that's if everything goes perfect for Paramount.
Yeah. And that's only the deal. That doesn't include current debt, and that doesn't include current debt of Warner Brothers.
I think that's what their total combined debt would be.
Accumulated?
Yes. That's if the merger happens, they'll be in possession of $110 billion debt from Paramount's debt, Warner Brothers debt, and the big, huge debt they incur for making the purchase in the first place. And by the way, on top of all that, Big Papa Ellison, Daddy Ellison, who owns, one of the owners, the major guy behind Oracle, Oracle's lost $600 billion in market cap value over the past few months.
It's incredible.
Like that number is astounding. So all of that is to say, I think Paramount has changed their minds. I think Paramount has changed their minds. I could be wrong. Maybe they mean everything they're saying publicly. I think it's just a saving face thing until a little while down the road, they just announce that they found a better option and they get out of the deal. But yeah, it's pretty, man, it's pretty grim for them right now. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about all this? A number of Warner Brothers execs are now saying, yeah, we hope this thing dies as a result of Paramount getting this whole thing delayed at least a year. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.